Someday, in the not-so-distant future, it happens. The moment you realize you're ready for anything. Get a degree in emergency management from Jacksonville State University and be ready for where you're going.
This is the Weather Xtreme video for Sunday, March the 16th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Thanks for tuning in. We're waking up to a wet morning across central Alabama. There's a look at the Skycam from Trussville, and rather wet out there. Many spots getting on the order of 1 to 1.5 inches of rain so far since the rain began overnight last night. And there's a look at Tuscaloosa. Streets wet down there too. It looks like there's a little bit of drying coming our way. We may see an end to the precipitation for this afternoon, at least somewhat temporary end anyway. The surface map is a somewhat complicated low-pressure pattern over Arkansas and northern Louisiana with a series of fronts. The main front that's of concern is where that warm front will end up across the Gulf Coast area, and that's where the main threat for severe weather is. In the upper atmosphere, the main culprit is a bit of a trough that extends from Oklahoma, near Oklahoma City, down across the Big Bend country of Texas. That trough will be slow to move by, so we're going to stay somewhat unsettled for the next 36 hours or so until that trough can go by us on Monday. Temperatures across the southeastern U.S. very nice this morning with fairly mild, keeping in mind that most of the southeastern U.S. will be seeing lows in the upper 30s or so, and so we're on the order of 15 to 20 degrees warmer than that. Still fairly chilly up in the western Great Lakes where there's still some minus values up there. Temperatures across central Alabama generally in the 50s across the area, and it looks like while we were forecasting temperatures to get a little warmer, if the warm front doesn't make it far enough north, and it looks like it probably won't right now. It looks like temperatures probably going to hold in the 60s across the area. Pretty good blanket of rain over much of the area. Looking at the regional radar map, and of course we'll be seeing a little dry slot that's moving in there across northern Louisiana and central Mississippi, and that dry slot will bring an end to some of the precipitation, but don't think the complete end to it all. Just to the north, though, there's some winter weather advisories stretching from southern Missouri across to the mid-Atlantic states, where they're experiencing winter weather conditions as they're on that boundary between the warmer and the colder air. QPF-wise, as we noted yesterday, 1 to 2 inches possible. Of course, the rain will be coming to an end on Monday, and it looks like we'll stay dry for much of the week ahead, although there's some questions. We'll get into those in just a minute. Slight risk of severe storms as well as a tornado watch that's in effect for the area along centered over pretty much southeast Mississippi and southwest Louisiana. That slight risk on day 2 will shift over into the Florida Peninsula. Now, let's get right to some of the modeling this morning, and here is the instability. Instability is the greatest off the Gulf Coast and into the Gulf, but we do have, and this is the lifted index. I like to look at the lifted indices sometimes. Cape values pretty coincident with these lifted indices value, but you can see where the strongest instability is located along the Gulf Coast, and looks like it's going to stay that way. The surface low moves across northern Mississippi this afternoon, and again we're seeing some drying in that dry slot coming from northern Louisiana into central Mississippi. So while we will see the broad rain shield die down as it moves off to the east, we do expect the possibility of additional showers and perhaps even a thunderstorm to develop. One of the reasons for that, of course, is the upper trough, which you can see for this afternoon at 1 o'clock is situated just to our west. But when we move out to Monday, you can see that it's just passing us Monday around 1 o'clock. So until that gets by us, we'll stay in the risk of having some showers. And of course, by Monday, it looks like the threat for any rain should be coming to an end during the afternoon, by afternoon at least. When we get out to Tuesday, that little shortwave is weakening as it moves out into the southwest Atlantic, but we have another one coming quickly on its heels as it moves across Nebraska and Kansas. That one, fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, looks like it's going to have a hard time bringing back a lot of Gulf moisture. Now, the Gulf does appear to just slightly open up on Tuesday, so we'll have to watch how much that opens up. But right now it appears unlikely that there will be much in the way of showers, especially since by Wednesday we see that trough doesn't dig in any deeper into the mid-Mississippi River Valley or come down into the Tennessee River Valley. It's as if the kind of the ridging over the Gulf kind of maintains itself, and the main trough stays off to the north around the Great Lakes area. So while that will drag a front down into the area, and then we see cooler air coming down into the Ohio River Valley, it doesn't look like we're going to get especially cold. Monday will probably be our coolest day, and we should recover into the 60s nicely into midweek. The pattern goes somewhat zonal by Thursday, and that will keep us in good weather Thursday. And then once again on Friday, the pattern stays pretty zonal with no sharp troughs. We do have a series of these little short waves moving through the flow, especially along the northern tier of the United States and across the Great Lakes area. But it looks like for us, we stay somewhat tranquil with surface high pressure that is keeping things in good shape through Friday. Now, as we get into the weekend, and everybody's working for the weekend, we see the zonal flow on Saturday still there, but we also can tell that a front will drag into the area. With the zonal flow, there's going to be a little push for that front, but it could have enough moisture with it that we will see some showers. Not an all-day rain kind of event, it doesn't look like. And then by Sunday, a week from today, we see that it's almost weak ridging occurring, and so the front is likely to just wash out, but it may mean that we'll have to keep in some chance for some isolated showers as we get out into the Sunday time frame. But that's on the edge of voodoo country, and that might change before we get there. Looking out into voodoo country, the pattern gets a little sharper around Tuesday, the 25th of March, and that certainly spells a bit of a colder pattern for the eastern part of the country. We do see something that could be a precursor to a severe weather threat with a negatively tilted trough coming through the central Mississippi River Valley around the 28th of March. This wasn't apparent on the maps yesterday, but it certainly is apparent on the maps today. So kind of a flipping and a flopping that we see happen out in voodoo country. And then by the time we get out to the 30th, that strong negatively tilted trough has moved off into New England, and as it does, we become more zonal across the southern tier of the United States. So once again, it doesn't look like any serious cold and maybe some severe weather threat, but after all, it is March, so we know that can happen. James Spann will be back with the next edition of the Weather Xtreme video first thing on Monday morning. In the meantime, stay tuned to the blog for updates on the latest conditions going on to our south, where we expect most of the severe weather to occur. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Have a great Sunday, and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.